Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
It's time for Tell It to Stanya. It's all about you. Ooh, let's peel away the layers and focus on you. Ooh, what's going on inside? Let's talk about love and truth and the matter of who we are. Let's find out together on Tell It to Stanya.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Tell It to Stanya. That's right. I am she and she is me. And let me say that welcome to the country's most authentic talk show. That's right. I said it. I said it's the most authentic. Brittany, did you hear what I said? I said it's the most authentic radio show in the Bahamas. Is correct. That's right. So before we, Brittany's doing good now. Brittany's let me know when to start now. That's right. See, she have the thumb up. She ain't putting up the other fingers. This is good. Brittany, we've come a long way. This is very good. Yeah. But before, I came on the air, we were just chatting. I was running my mouth and talking my business. And that's a show. That's a show within itself. And I don't want to talk about that yet, even though I'm talking about it, because I found out some things surrounding doing that act that we both did in this country. And it's very, very... It's very upsetting. It's very upsetting. So, but anyway, it's gonna make sense, guys. It's gonna make sense when I talk about it again. But anyhow,
baby steps.
Yes. Okay. So, welcome to Tell It to Stanya. It's another Saturday. I know that you guys definitely enjoyed the show last week because, and I be minding my own business. I went to a pharmacy and the pharmacist was like, "Hey, did the lady get her day?" So I was like, what lady? What are you talking about? So she said, your show, the lady, she wanted the Tuesday. Did she get the day off? So I was like, oh, wow. Okay. All right. So hi, Jackie. Jackie, I put you right out there. Hello, pharmacist Jackie. Hi. Good morning or good afternoon. So yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you for also tuning into the show and being a part of the show. I really don't take that lightly. So just want to say thank you, guys. But last week, it was definitely an interesting show where we talked about, you all know what we was talking about the church abuse, about the cult. And I know these things are very, very touchy topics because, people get very, very upset when you talk about the church in particular. And I want you guys to know that, I come down hard on the church sometimes, not on God now. Because there's a difference, but hard on the church because sometimes, and that's every aspect of life. Sometimes you just be doing too much, and sometimes things that is meant to be good can sometimes be not so good. And that's not me saying that all churches are this or whatever, because no,
Absolutely.
not all churches are. There's a lot of good people. There's a lot of good churches who are doing amazing things. There's a lot of good priests, good pastors, good prophets. I like talk with my prophet kosher child. If you listen, if you hear me tell the story, only prophet kosher safe around here. But, so I just want to say that. I want to clarify that because that's just what it is. So anyway, I want to welcome back my guest, Rachel, or Ray. We call her Ray. And we're gonna finish this story because we just was like scraping the top. We didn't get to, So, but let me ask you this: what was your week like? Did anyone listen? Because I know this was your first time on the radio.
First time on the radio show, speaking about my journey, and so I went to work last week, Monday. And so one of my coworkers, they were like, Mortimer, it's like you was my hero. I was like, hero? I said, what you talking about? They said, yeah, man, you was my newfound hero. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he was like, tell it to Stanya.
That's right. Y'all stay around here. Y'all better give me my props.
I was like, what? I say, you listen to the radio show? He was like, I absolutely do. And he's like, it just happened. And he said, I haven't listened to the show in a minute. And so he was like on his commute, doing his Saturday runs and
Right.
all that stuff. So he was like, let me listen and see what's happening on the radio show today.
Right.
And he's like, hold on, this voice sounds like
familiar.
more voice.
Wow.
And so he's like, no. Only one Rachel I know.
Right.
And that's the same Rachel I know. He said,
Wow.
man, I gotta come to work and tell more. You was my newfound hero. And he's like, boy, more. It's so funny that people work with you and you see people every day.
Right.
And you really don't know what people are going through.
Yes.
Because people are coming into work on a daily basis, not wearing their issues on their shoulders.
Right.
You'll have to guess and see what's going on. He's like, I would never guess that you experienced this. He said, because you'll come to work and no one would really know what's happening. And he's like, wow, you really he said, you really got my eyes open up and looking at things differently.
We all have a story, guys, and people, us, me included, everybody. Like, we all carry around things that nobody knows about and that we don't always share. And that's why, I take it very personal. Like this morning, before coming, I keep saying this morning, but it was this morning. But, I had a client today and I was sharing with her, when people are sharing a part of themselves, when they tell me something that's very intimate, I hold that very sacred because it's a part of a person that they don't normally share.
Exactly.
And guys, this is why too, sometimes we have to be gentle with people because we've all been through some stuff. And I must say this though, we look at people and we admire people, but we are also the heroes, and we are the heroes in our own lives because guess what, guys? Every single thing that we have been through, we still here.
That's right. Still standing.
Yeah, we still here.
Absolutely.
And that's the beautiful thing. We are still here. We've all know, we know what rejection feels like, abandonment feels like. We know what less than feels like. And a lot of times, guys, when I'm doing this show, I keep saying this because sometimes I feel like y'all may not get it. Not everyone. Some. Is that I want you to see another perspective, and I want you to see just these things through another eyes, like through other people's eyes, and why people do the things that they do. If we could actually work on ourselves and just be vulnerable, very vulnerable, if we could be vulnerable, we wouldn't have so much killing. We wouldn't have so much parental abuse. We wouldn't have all this anger, all this
manipulation.
Yeah, if we just could create that space, if we can just share who we are, but we got to create the space first. But if we just told the truth about who we are and where we've been, believe it or not, we are actually more similar. And I'm speaking from the standpoint of being a life coach. And not even just a life coach, because I might be a life coach or a life teacher, but I'm also a student of life too. I remember even being in college with my quote unquote Caucasian friends. This the only differences I noticed with them. Okay, I perm my hair to get straight. They perm their hair to get curly. Okay, they gotta wash their hair every 2 days to get the grease out. We use grease to put it in our hair. You see these foolishness? But listen, they had daddy issue, mommy issue, just like me.
Same.
They had stinky relationships.
Same.
And I was like,
just from a different environment.
I said, these have to say no different.
Just from a different
no
environment.
different from me.
Just from a different household, different
Yeah,
environment. No difference. Just that. Your skin color is different from mine, but we go through the same issues on a day-to-day basis until you open up and say, hey, this is what I went through, and you'll be like, oh my goodness, you serious? I would have never guessed.
Yeah. So just wanted to share that, guys. So anyway, now we done ramble on for 15 minutes. It's 1:15. Child, let's get into the scoop of things. So now, if I remember correctly, we were talking about pretty much, we agreed that it was pretty much just a cult. When we look at it, it was headed by the person who was very, based on what you shared, narcissistic, misogynistic, a whole lot of it sticks.
Controlling.
Yes, very controlling. Boy, very, very. And before I start too, if you want to share a thought with me, and I just love when you message me, guys. The text line 422-4796. That's 422-4796. I am assuming that that's the WhatsApp line because I just discovered a WhatsApp about 2-3 weeks ago. So I think, Brittany, could you find out if that's the WhatsApp line too? I think it may be the WhatsApp line. I ain't sure y'all. Mr. Strawn, let me know if that's it because her years old. Anyhow, but yeah, so last week we were talking about the way you were introduced to this church, all right, all the things that happened. You was cooking for the pastor and the pastor family. He even gave you the quality stamps, one sheet of quality stamps, so you could go to go to the food store. You wanted to stay home with your family. You couldn't get you to stay home off. All this stuff, and you were not allowed to voice anything. You got to speak through your husband or keep your big mouth quiet. Use all this stuff, and all of this. How old were you?
That would have been in my early 20s, very, very early 20s, 20, going on 21, 22. Yeah.
Okay, all
early
that
20s.
stuff. Okay, all right. So, what now? So, what happens now? So after now, you're now starting to find your voice, maybe?
Yeah, starting to see things different.
Okay, make sure
It's
the mic.
starting to see things different. It's just like you going to and I would describe it as going to a family barbecue, right? Or a family reunion or whatever you may call it. And so you would have the stalwarts who would say, listen, make sure Jesse have on proper clothes because Uncle Johnny come in and y'all know how Uncle Johnny go. Grammy don't know what to say, but just ignore Grammy and just let Grammy be, right? So you ignore these bad traits just so that you could appease the older folks. So you won't get yourself in trouble, so you won't be deemed as being disrespectful. You're calling them out on their foolishness of what they're doing. And so as I started to be in the church and I realized that, hey, I have a voice too. Why is it that I cannot speak up of the issues that I see that is happening, the discrepancies, the disrespect, the not showing value to human life, And so I started to raise concerns.
Now give me an example of you, because I know Ray, you look a little spicy. How did you raise?
Listen,
how did you do this?
Because for example, it's like I would say, okay, hairstyle, right? I love colors in my hair, right? At a point in time in my life, I love colors, and I grew up in a home whereas mommy and daddy would always say, when you step outside because you're representing yourself first,
Right.
and then you're representing your family.
Right.
Don't just step outside any kind of how because you don't know how you're gonna come back.
Right.
So always walk
That's
out of
like
your
my
house.
mommy.
Yeah, always
Yes.
walk out of your house. With the expectation that you are on grand stage,
Right.
regardless of what it is. Even if it's you going across the street to a grocery store.
Yes.
Don't be putting on no bonnet in your hair. Don't be walking around with
Yes.
hair cloth on your hair. Don't be dragging no slippers. Put on proper clothes because you don't know how you're coming back.
That's one of the reasons why I actually cut my hair, because my mom was like, "Child, you look bad.
Yeah.
Child, you look bad. No. You gotta get it together."
Yeah, I always tell mommy and daddy, I say one thing, but my mommy and daddy say, y'all really blessed me with the fashion, but y'all ain't blessed me with the money.
That come in. Okay.
And so for mommy and daddy, they were always big on, the way you present yourself, and
So
she's like, people don't need to know what you're going through, unless you express it. But at the same time, just represent yourself very well.
So okay, so at this new church, were you allowed to wear makeup?
Yeah, I could
Okay,
wear
so you
makeup.
could wear makeup.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could wear makeup. You could wear jewelry.
Okay.
Right, but you could have just have one piercing of earring on, or whatever. And if you don't want to wear earring, you don't have to. But
Okay.
it's like the attire of your clothes, which would have been the concern. Whereas your skirt have to be below your knee to your ankle, basically, or underneath of your knee, mid knee.
what?
Yeah. If you're going to wear anything, your silhouette should not be showing. I understand your silhouette, but it's like similar to like how you see like the Amish will dress. It's like they always want they almost wanted to take that approach.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, and for those of you who may not know what the Amish look like. Think but Little House on the Prairie.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
okay.
And see, because I remember when I first went into the workforce industry out of my internship, going into where I first started my career journey, and so they're like, "You wear a long skirt touching your ankle." And I didn't thought it was weird, because, this was what I was
what you know.
accustomed to,
Right.
and so they were like, your skirt is touching your ankle. It's like, I mean, you look nice, but at the same time, why you have to wear your skirt touching your ankle? I'm literally
Every day.
yeah, every day sweeping the floor, touching, my skirt was extremely long. You can't wear pants. You have to wear a
So
skirt.
like how you because you have on jeans today.
Oh, yeah, and cut
you
up
would
jeans
not,
at that.
You would not. Oh, you got a little cut up jeans. So you would not have been able to.
No.
Okay,
No.
so let me ask you this: for some, there are people who are listening who will probably say, "Well, that's not a bad thing. That's very ladylike, and that's very Christ-like." How do you feel about that?
I mean, everybody is subject to their own opinion, right? But it's the way it was brought on to you.
Okay.
To say that, okay, this is how you must wear it.
You must.
As if you don't have a choice. I mean, modest, you don't have to wear anything sweeping the floor. You could dress modestly where it's not revealing, where everything is still intact. But at the same time, they made it seem as if whatever you're wearing, it's like you have to, your wrist shouldn't be showing, your ankles shouldn't be showing. It's like you have to be like covered up or whatever. But
You
it's
say
the
your
way,
wrist?
yeah. You're wearing your long sleeve shirt, and
So
if you're wearing,
this little piece of the arm couldn't
yeah,
show it?
yeah, that's how it
wow.
it didn't start off like that at first,
Right.
But eventually in years to come, you see, changes started to happen. On a Sunday morning, he would come and say, you can't be coming to Sunday school, or you can't be coming to choir practice, or singing in the choir with your knees showing, your calf showing. You gotta be covered up in the presence of God, and I get it. You understand, and I understand it, but the delivery of the message was so wrong. It was so abrasive, and it was so harsh. It wasn't like you say, let me walk you guys through what I would have
Right.
read on the scriptures, of how you should adorn yourself
Right.
when you're coming into church. It's basically you're shouting and you're dictating to me, and you expect me now to just fall in line automatically, without any question.
Okay.
And that was the issue. It's like every Sunday you come with a different vision. Every Sunday you come with a different word.
Was his wife? Well, how did she dress?
She dressed
same way?
modest.
Okay, all right.
She dressed modest, but her skirt was not always to her ankle every Sunday. Her skirt was not to her ankle every Wednesday, but you expect that from everybody else. But you have a wife that basically you couldn't really control per se. Because she's like at this point, I guess I don't know why she did it, but she had her reasons why. And then years to come, you realize why she did what she did and the way she responded to her husband in a subtle, rebellious way.
Okay, I was just about to say, so I'm looking at you, looking you in the eyes, and I could see some little I could see some in you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what for you was like just very
It's like you stunted my growth.
so it was like suppressing
You suppress
the essence
me
of who you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Being me. You basically try to drill down me being who I am not.
Okay.
You want to carve me into being that
Person you want me to be.
you're right. Me not coming into my own. You want
Okay.
me to live in the Old Testament days when we're living in grace. We're not living under law anymore. We're living under grace, and God gave us freedom of choice.
Right.
And with that choice, we still have to be responsible in the decisions that we make as well, because we do face consequences when we decide to stray away from what is right. And I get it, but at the same time, it's like you forcing me to be someone who I'm not. It's like you want everybody to be a certain way, like you
Right.
carving
According to
everybody.
you acting as God.
Yes, like this
Yeah.
demigod, like this God, and you hate saying that God gave this vision to me. Well, he never tell me that. Why he tell you that?
Wow.
You want everybody to, dress this way. No hair color, your hairstyle should be this way. You shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. You have me like on a schedule, on a rhythm to say on a Monday, this is what you do. On a Tuesday, this is what you eat, things like that. And it's like you didn't really want the people to be themselves, their authentic self. You just wanted to control individuals in the church. And
So-
when persons started to speak out and say, hey, that's not right, and then now you make it a problem.
So at that time, were there other young people who had voice maybe? Hey,
Yes,
something?
Yes. Persons started to speak,
Okay.
and speaking, on a Sunday you would be the subject of discussion, and
Oh,
persons
yes,
started
yes.
to leave. Persons started to leave. You had married couples who started to leave the church because at this point now you want to dictate to my marital home when I am the head of my household. I'm the head of my wife. I'm the head of my kids. You can't tell me how my wife should dress. If my wife is comfortable in dressing in a certain attire and I am comfortable with it, you can't tell me, oh, my wife shouldn't wear this. Don't have her come to church. No. If I had a problem with it, my wife would not have been wearing a certain apparel. You control your household and you tell your wife and your kids what not to wear. And then you started to see like um, persons started to slowly leave the church.
Okay. So now let's go into your home because, okay, are you still married to the gentleman?
No, I'm not. We've been divorced over, I would say now, 16 years.
Okay. So how long were you married to him?
Less than 24 months.
Say what now?
Yes.
So,
Less than 24 months.
wait, hold on now. Okay. So, okay. So all right. I know you shared this last week. So all this happened within 24 months with
Less
him?
than 24.
Less than 24 months. So y'all didn't even make it to the second
No.
wedding anniversary.
No, we didn't.
Well, okay, well, let me ask you this. Was there anyone who said, hey, I don't think you should marry this person?
No, because the signs were not, there were no red flags to say that, hey, he was a bad person, or I was a bad person, or you guys should not mesh together, or you guys are not, compatible, but it's like everything was fine because even when we were in our courtship, he stood up for me during our courtship. He was there to defend me during our courtship and he supported, and it wasn't like, it was so strenuous, whereas I didn't have my own opinion or I didn't have a choice to say, hey, I don't agree with certain, measures of what you're trying to apply. I was like basically safe during our courtship.
Man, it gotta be. I feel like it's always a red flag. Now,
the
I don't
thing.
know if the red flag was the fact that maybe all y'all at this church and maybe you need to get out of the church first before
And the
dating this
thing
person.
is, no, he wasn't like that.
Okay.
He really, and I can honestly say he was not. During our courtship, I was protected. I felt safe,
With him.
with
Okay.
him. And knowing me, if I didn't feel safe, I would not have, carried
forward.
on the courtship relationship. But knowing that, like I felt protected and I felt safe that this is the man who's going to protect me. And then when we got married, then you saw a
Different version. Okay. So, all right. So it was good up until when in the marriage? Because it was only less than 24 months. So
Yeah.
up until when? Month 1, month 2, halfway through? What?
Halfway through.
Okay. So everything is fine the
know.
first year.
Yeah, halfway through. Yeah.
Okay. So what now? What do we start seeing now?
So now, everything started to come to head during my pregnancy.
Oh, so okay. So you got
right?
pregnant.
I got pregnant after we got pregnant. I would say the following year.
Okay.
Right.
So
We
about a
got
year into the marriage.
Yeah, a year going into the marriage, and then so during my pregnancy, I was extremely sick. When I found out I was pregnant, I couldn't go back to work anymore because I was bedridden up until me giving birth, and so I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't sleep. I was in pain. I was dehydrated constantly. I was in and out of the hospital. It just was bad. And so I was not faithful going in the church because of my condition.
Okay. So
And
was that a
so,
problem?
Yes.
It was a problem.
It was.
Even when you were ill
Yes.
during your
Yes.
pregnancy.
Yes. And
Okay.
so,
Walk me through this, please.
exactly. And so the pastors noticed that I'm not to church. Everybody knew that I was sick during my it was visible. You could have seen it.
Right.
I was basically like 98 pounds. I was
Wow.
extremely small.
Right.
My face was like a Chiquita banana, and my neck was like eggplant.
You so quick.
I'm telling you, traumatic,
Okay.
right? And so, like where I was so dehydrated, if you touch my skin would started to flake. That's how dehydrated I was. And, you can't really take much medication while you're pregnant.
Right.
So it's basically just, monitoring you and just, taking it one step at a time. And so the pastor, one day, my husband came home. He was like, babes, you're going to have to start coming to church. I was like, "What you talking about? It's happened." I said I could barely take 2 steps without me going to, to the restroom throwing up. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I talked to pastor. And pastor say pregnancy is not a disease." I say, "I'm fully aware that pregnancy is not a disease, but I am you can
Visibly see.
visibly see
I'm not well.
I am not well and I am sick. You know, I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, you're gonna have to try and come to church on Sunday just so the people could see you, you know, coming into church and all that stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be doing this to please people or whatever. You know, I'm not going to be coming to church just to please individual knowing my condition. I say, why are you going to now subject me to something like this? I said, I could barely put on my clothes. You know, I'm not doing it. And so he got upset. And
Okay.
so the pastor came to my house one day along with his wife. They was like, oh yeah, I'm just doing a wellness check on you just to see how you are doing and all that stuff. I said, y'all know I'm not doing well.
Oh, yeah, y'all mowed again.
You know, yeah, I say, you know I'm not doing well. Because at this point, it's like now I had to now defend myself because,
Right.
like, you're not defending me.
Right, so-
I'm not here to please you. And I'm not here to satisfy the pastor and his expectation of what he expect, knowing that you have a church member who is sick and you know your wife is sick. You see me every day crawling, you know, fighting every day to pass through this pregnancy, and it was not easy. You know, everybody, my family is like, where because I was pregnant, I couldn't go back to work. And so when he would go to work, he couldn't leave me at home. He's like, I'm not
Oh,
leaving you home.
so you were not going to work at
No,
this time?
no, I couldn't.
Okay, because I was just gonna say, well, were you going to work
No.
and then you just because
No.
if you could go to work,
No,
Okay.
I couldn't go to work.
Okay.
From I found out I was pregnant, literally, it's like my pregnancy must see just jinx me. You know, from I found out I was pregnant, that following week, it was sickness for me. And so he knew, he's like, you know, I'm not leaving you home. And so obviously I had to submit a communication to my work stating from my daughter that I was unfit for work. And so when he would go to work, he would take me by my parents' house. And my parents would do that. My mom would, and my dad, you know, were there for me and, you know, watching over my sister at the time who was living, my sisters at the time who were living at my parents' house, you know, they were there, you know, helping me along the way. So anyhow, nonetheless, I didn't go to church, and I tried one day. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I say, it's hard for me to do it. And he got upset, and that's when the pastor and the wife came to my house saying that they want to do a wellness check, checking on when you see how I'm doing and all that stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this just to please you. I'm like, I'm having a conversation with you. I'm out of breath right now, trying to keep up having this lengthy conversation
Now,
with
how
you.
much months were you at this time?
On my first trimester.
Okay.
You know, during my first trimester. And so he was like, well, babes, you're gonna have to make an effort
An effort.
to come to church. I say, I'm trying. I say, even speaking now, it's a lot for me, you know, because it's not easy. And so the pastor was like, you know, I would like to see you coming to church on Sunday. I'm like, you guys are so insensitive. You know, I'm like, you could see that I am sick. You could see I've lost weight. I was already tiny already. And now I was like a lowercase b. If you look at me back in the day, I'm like a lowercase b.
Wow.
Skinny with a big bump on the front. You
No,
know,
man.
yeah. You know, I'm like, how you expect me to like do this? And so I tried one day, and my sisters and my parents were so upset at me, and my dad. They're like, why are you doing this? You're gonna kill yourself. And so my parents came to my house. They're like, listen, don't do that. You could see that your wife is sick. You're not going to force her to go to church. I could see if she's going to work here and there and she's not going to church, but she's not even going to work.
Right.
Like,
right.
when
That's
you-
why I asked you,
you
like,
know?
right? Because okay, well, if you're better
Yeah,
enough,
I didn't go to work
go to
at
work.
all. I basically
Okay.
report back to work when my baby was literally like 4 months, not even 3 months.
We could come on. Anyway,
You
go
know?
on. Go on.
And so it was hard.
Okay.
And so that's when it started to happen.
Okay.
You
so
know, when
during-
I started to see like the red flag started to kick in, you know, even for me. And I could say at one point, I couldn't cook either. In any scent of food, dive me straight into the bathroom, you know. And so I had to teach my ex-husband how to cook from laying in the bedroom. You know,
Okay.
because he would ask me what to put in, how to do this and how to do that, you know, because he said, you know what, I know you can't cook. And I could say that before the interference of the pregnancy, you know, he was doing fine. But I guess, you know, listening to the pastor and getting into his ear, you know, made him think different.
Okay.
And approach me different.
Right.
And I didn't appreciate it, you know, and it was good at first. And then now I started to see like the red flags. Like now you're trying to now force me to doing things which isn't right. And so after I gave birth to my baby, it's when everything started to blow off.
What?
The hatch broke. And so my baby, I gave birth to her in October of that year. November would have made her 1 month. My husband came home one day. I don't know what transpired in the church, but he came home one day. She was 1 week shy of being a month. He was like, well, you're going to have to now come to church. And I'm sitting.
Okay.
My baby sister was with me at home at the time. She came to visit me. And she was like, you okay? And he's like, yeah. He said, what you talking about? She's like, you realize that she's only on her 3rd week of giving birth. Next week is going to make her 4 weeks giving birth to your child. And you're going to ask her to tell her, knowing that, first of all, you know that she had a horrible pregnancy. That's one. God was so gracious in giving labor. When I was going through my labor, I gave birth within 1 hour.
Oh, you was lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, you was so lucky.
I was blessed, because I tell you, my pregnancy was terrible. Terrible. And the nurse, my midwife, she broke my water bag, and within that hour, I gave birth.
Oh,
so
you
thank
are
God
so
I did
lucky.
not. I did not go through any hard suffering.
Oh,
yeah.
Listen. 20. When I went into this 7 o'clock that night, then when I had baby, the next day it must be around midday. Listen, a friend of mine, she says, Stanya, why y'all is act like pregnancy just was the greatest thing ever? I said, well, I don't know who's be acting like that. It's rough.
It was rough.
That's why I only gave birth to one child.
Yeah.
That traumatized me.
It is. Yeah, pregnancy could be traumatizing, to be honest. For me, my pregnancy was a trauma.
I wouldn't talk with them leaky breasts after. Listen,
Yes.
let me say, because sorry, I don't know if I could say that. Anyway, listen, let's go forward.
Yeah.
So 1 month shy. So not even 1 month.
Not 1 month going in.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. And then my baby sister was there with me, helping me and all that stuff. And so she's like, you okay? She's like, are you serious? He's like, how you could ask your wife less than a month to go back to church? He's like, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to my wife.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, go on.
And so she's like, respectfully, I hear that you're speaking to your wife, but this is my sister. Y'all ain't going to kill my sister just because of to put on a face for the church.
So Ray, let me ask you this, because I have a question. Do you think he was being pressured by the pastor, by the church, or whoever?
He was. The pastor had his ear,
And so you think it was just like too much for him to stand up, because see, I like to talk about this emotional gangsterism, guys, but this is what it is, emotional gangsters. So, okay, do you think that because when you're an emotional gangster, it's control, it's intimidation, it's all these things, and it's a very strong presence.
Yeah.
And to break free from this emotional gangster, it's a very scary thing. So do you think that he, like your husband, it was just too strong for him to just come down and say, and then you guys were young too, very young.
Very young.
So do you think that it was just too much for him to stand up?
Looking at it now, it was.
Okay. Because he was
after the years,
too,
he was.
Michelle.
I'm gonna tell you. Definitely.
He was also.
We both
victim.
were victims to it, but to this day, me and him have a beautiful relationship.
Okay.
We have a beautiful relationship, and after years, he spoke and he did apologize.
Wait, hold on before you getting ahead of this thing. Hold on now. Okay. So all right.
So let me tell you why he fell victim to it too, and in a way that he felt as if he owed him something to the pastor, because he looked at the pastor as a father figure to him, because he didn't have a father. His father was not present in his life. You understand? And so I guess because he looked at the pastor as a father figure, I guess he didn't want to go against what the pastor was saying. So he always relied on the pastor for advice. Always relied on him for counsel and whatever issues that he was going through in life. The pastor was there for him.
Well, see, that's just it. Like the emotional gangster. Like there's a difference. I just want to finish my book. I just letting y'all know I'm still writing this thing. Say I just write them now. But the difference between like an emotional gangster, one of the things, there's several differences, but one difference between an emotional gangster and a bully is that the emotional gangster has you in this mental, it's like this mental headlock. And one of the things
A
is
roller
that
coaster.
you feel like you owe them something.
Correct.
And dealing with the emotional gangster guys, anyway, y'all know I don't talk about this, but I could break it down again. It feels almost like you in a relationship. This almost feel like the emotional gangster almost feel like this your lover. Like you owe this person something and you
Exactly.
do, and you don't want to be the bad guy to the emotional gangster.
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So
And he felt as if he owed him something.
Yeah.
You know, because like I
He's
said,
this
he did
father
not.
figure.
Yes, because his father was not active in his life. You know,
Uh-huh.
and so here it is now. All his life, I wouldn't say all his life, but you know, for the most part of his young adolescent life, this is the guy who was there for him going through
And you know what? He
graduations,
doesn't
picking
wanna
up report
disappoint him.
card, exactly.
Yes.
Picking up his report card, you know, standing up to him in terms of representing him in school or whatever events or socials that's happening. He was always there for him, so he had a sense of
Loyalty and yes.
you know, to him. Like, I don't want to break this trust. I don't want to break this bond that we have. And so that's what it was. And so anyhow, moving forward.
So 3 weeks,
Yeah.
weeks in.
And so here's the thing, you know, when you're young and you really didn't had that good understanding, and also trying to please my husband, you know, I don't want to be fighting about this. And so when my husband told my baby sister, I'm not speaking to you, I'm speaking to my wife. And she was like, yeah, I know this is your wife, but this is my sister, but you're gonna kill my sister.
Right.
You know? And so I'm like, leave it alone. I say, don't. I say,
So
let's
did
not.
you ever go to church after
Oh,
that?
I sure did.
Okay, so
I sure did.
okay, that ain't sound good.
Yes, ma'am. And I went to church exactly the day my daughter turned 1 month.
Okay, so the following week
The
after
following
this
week,
situation,
she
then.
literally turned. That's very Sunday made her 1 month.
So you
and
went
I
to
went
church
to
then.
church.
So
and
you-
here's the thing, Stanya.
Uh-huh.
When I went to
Michelle,
church, I'm gonna tell you this.
I so scared of this.
Let me tell you, I went that Sunday. My husband's shift was that morning, and at the time we had one vehicle.
Okay, so
I didn't tell my parents I was going to church.
uh-huh.
I didn't tell my sisters I was going to church. All I know, that Saturday night, my husband and I, we spoke. He was like, tomorrow you're going to church.
Oh wow.
And so, and I'm telling him, I'm like, I'm not going to church. He's like, I really don't care what you have to say at this point. Go to church because you're not sick. And
Wow.
so I said nothing else after that because I really didn't like the back and forth where it was heading, you know. And so he left that morning when he woke up getting ready for church, not work, church, sorry,
For
for
work.
work. And he's like, I expect you to be to church this morning.
Jesus, this-
And so, and like, you know what? I'm not gonna be fighting. So what I did, Stanya, I got ready. I caught the bus with my baby, and by the time she turned 1 month, literally is like, I don't know what happened. She must have been in a time machine. She was born 6 pounds 7 ounces. Literally, by the time she was 4 weeks, my baby was 9 pounds.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was a heifer.
Uh-huh.
And so I don't know how she gained that weight so quickly. Her doctors and everything were so shocked. And then they tell me, hey, you're gonna have to ease up on this breast milk feeding her because she's getting a bit too big for her
Too soon.
age. Too soon. So I caught the bus, Stanya,
Yes.
to church. My heavy big baby with me, with my big, you know,
Your bag,
baby
everything.
bag and everything. Hop on the bus, going to church. My sisters was to church when the ushers opened up the door and I walked through. My sisters were the first persons who met eye contact with me because they were like sitting to the back. And they were so shocked as if they saw a ghost.
Right.
And my baby sister ran and she, you know, took my baby, and my other sister ran and she took my bag. And it's like, okay, come sit. They didn't ask no questions. You know, because as far as we're concerned, we in church, we can ask these questions later. And so after church, so my sister's like, how did you, first of all, I don't see your car downstairs. How you got to church? I said, I caught the bus. She said, why on earth are you to church? I was like, well, you know, I don't want to call my husband's name on radio. And so I was like, well, you know, he told me I need to come to church or whatever. She said, are you crazy, girl? She said, today actually made Lil Mama 4 months. Why are you
4
here?
months or 1 month?
I mean, sorry, 1 month. Why are you here? I'm like, listen, I don't want the pressure, and I ain't into arguing. I was like, I am here. And so my sisters, I end up getting a ride back home. I didn't go by my parents' house. All I know, when I got home, my house phone at the time started ringing. My mom. She's like, I know one thing. What your sisters told me had to been a lie. What you went through for your pregnancy, that's one. And knowing how sick you were, and you telling me your sisters came home and told me that you the church. She said, let that be the first and the last time you ever do it, because your body is still open.
So, well, let me ask you this. Okay, so hubby had to go to work. So it was okay for him to not go to church then?
Exactly.
Okay. So
He
second
went to
of all,
work.
if he had the car, how did he think you were
As
going
far
to
as
get
he
to?
was concerned, I
He
had to
didn't
figure
care?
it out.
Just get
to church. Go to
Okay,
church.
you know what? We're going to take a commercial break.
Mm-hmm.
I see some messages here. I'm going to read the messages when we get back, but let's take a commercial break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brittany.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
The following is a paid political message.
The future is brighter. If you need improvement, come join the movement. Come join the movement. Hey, you're looking for change, find it here. You're looking for justice, find it here. You're looking for truth, find it here. Vote for MacGyver. Hey, she's here for you. See everybody in Galane. Change is here. Hey, hands in the air. See everybody in Galane. Vote for MacGyver. She is a fighter.
That was a paid political message.
Always on the go? Missed a show? You can now listen to Guardian Radio talk shows anytime, anywhere on Spotify and YouTube by searching Guardian Radio 96.9 FM or by entering the name of your favorite show. You can also listen by logging on to GuardianTalkRadio.com and clicking on the podcast tab. Guardian Radio, continuing to provide you with fresh news and smart talk anywhere, anytime, all day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
All right, and we are back. We are back. Okay, let me read some of these text messages. All righty, here we go. Okay, hi, Stanya. Do people change overnight? Boy, I don't think so. It's always in there. I'm surprised that there were no signs. This country is too small for that. Yeah, man. Sometimes sometimes the no sign, that's the sign right there.
Yeah.
Sometimes the no sign, because boy, nobody's perfect.
People mask a lot.
Okay, there are some of these men or women of God that people allow to control their life and marriage. Yeah, man. Some of y'all need to stay home with your husband. Nice, serious, man. Some of y'all say, man, y'all gotta stay home with your husband. Okay, hi, Stanya. The young lady did not understand the Almighty God does not deal like that. How knowledgeable was she in the Bible to not recognize that this was a cult? Okay.
Absolutely.
Did you, at what point did you realize, or was it years later that you realized, oh, okay, maybe this is a bit much?
Like I said, during my pregnancy, a lot of things started to happen, and then I'm starting to now voice my concerns to say that, hey, what y'all doing is not right. You know, you're telling me that the only reason I have a feeling if I buck my toe and I say ow, and that's how I now act on my emotions. Outside of that, I don't have emotions. You're now trying to condition me to be emotionless, right? You now condition me now to not have a opinion on a matter. God gave us a choice, right? And at the time, did I know everything? Absolutely not. I was young, very young, and then, being married young or whatever. I'm not using my, how I can say being young as an excuse, but at the same time, it's like there were not much guidance.
So, okay, so I have another question. Okay, well, this goes a little later into the church, so I'm not gonna ask that one yet. Well, okay, I attended to a church that was so relaxed with their wardrobe that women would come to church with skirts or shorts, pants so tight you could see what they had for breakfast, hair color so loud you could barely see the lighting. Okay, so this person is saying that they attended a church. Well, I guess they're saying that they kind of understand why, the modest look, because sometimes there are people, and I mean, and we've all seen them. We've all seen, I mean, we've all seen people, who may be dressed very provocatively. The breasts are out. You got the little shape of your little body
silhouette.
part, right? The little front thing, right?
Your
You
cow
can see
foot.
that. Yeah. The palm, I never hear that, but yeah, your little camel, yeah.
Camel foot.
Yeah, that, and so all of that is distracting. So I guess this person is saying that maybe the pastor was trying to, you know, he didn't want to see all that. He wanted the church to, the women to be modest, as the Bible encourages. Okay, you're looking at me very crazy right now. Okay, or do you think? Okay,
See,
and
because
also,
I agree. I definitely agree, Stanya. Coming into church, you should present yourself in a modest way.
right?
And it wasn't like the church that I once attend, it wasn't like persons were coming into the church dressing provocatively. You understand? They were not. But it's like you knew that your congregations were modest, but however, you wanted to take it to the extreme.
And then it was more about control.
It was more about control because the persons in the church, not one person, unless it was a visitor, who don't know,
Right.
their first time coming in, obviously, they're going to dress a certain way. But you have your active church members, your congregations. No one in the congregations came to church dressing, slack or, just, dressing, provocatively. Nobody did it. But
Okay.
everybody was coming to church dressing modest. But he took it to the extreme whereas he just wanted everybody now to change their entire wardrobe.
Identity,
And their
really.
entire identity because one Sunday you woke up and say, okay, no, I don't want y'all to come to church looking like this. It's like you just flipped the whole program altogether. It's
So-
like, and everybody's being so confused, like, hold on, where all this come from? Who in this church is dressing the way you're preaching? Nobody.
Okay.
Literally nobody.
Okay, I have a question for that, but we only got about 30 minutes left. So I really need to figure out or hear how the demise of this relationship. But someone has a question. They want to know. They said, was your husband a part of? Well, they said it's a specific place. I'm not going to say that one. But was he a part of one of the armed forces?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
so that one, what I just showed you, that one in particular.
Yes.
And that's another thing. That's another show.
Yes.
That's another show.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's another show
They
that
hit it on-
I
they hit
noticed.
it on the head.
I noticed some little weird, crazy things is happening.
Uh-huh.
But anyhow, let me
Yes.
stay focused. You guys get excited. Anyway, in the words of someone, they done say I theatrical. Let me stay focused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Traumatic.
So let's go, because we need to figure out how this only lasts 24 months. So okay now, so about a year now into it, you had your baby, you done almost get drop kicking to go into church, you go
Yeah.
into church. Okay, so after that, are you continuing to attend church after that?
I
Off and
attended
on?
off and on.
Okay.
Right. So now, I was a dedicated church member, like I said, and also too, I wanted us not to be going to church. Like the church doors are open 7 days a week.
So did you ever get this Tuesday off?
Eventually, no, I got it off for myself at this point.
So
So when my husband decided not to say that, okay, my family is important and my family is first, because marriage is the first institution and God ordained that. And so he didn't take that approach serious. So I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going. You can go, but I'm not going. So I started to stand up for myself. I was like, no, every day I'm not going to be in church. I have no issues being in church, but it's not going to be 7 days a week. And most days I'm coming home after 10, 11 o'clock in the night. Where am I going to have time for myself? I have
you have
work.
a daughter now.
I have work. I have a kid. We have a family. I still have obligations. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I still have classes to attend. I'm not doing that. You understand? And so at the end of the day, because now I started to now stand up and, like, no, then you're now going to brand me to be this disrespectful wife. And then on top of that, on church, you're going to say, oh, these Jezebel of a wife. Like, who you calling a Jezebel in church?
So he was calling you Jezebel?
Yeah, making those little smart comments. Like, no, not because I'm standing up myself. You're going to brand me in a disrespectful manner. And so I'm like, who you talking to at this point?
Did you, okay, so before I get to the priest, pastor, bishop, okay, so now in the marriage, like, how did this marriage be resolved? I mean, how are we resolving this? So what happened?
So now my husband started to see that I took a step back from church. The ministries I was a part of, I was no longer really heavily involved.
So gradually
I gradually started to, break away from them. But one that I really held to my heart was the young ladies at the time. I still kept close relationship and, being active with them, because they still needed, that guidance as well, even though I too needed guidance too, but they were the ones that kept me a bit seen because, I'm here, pouring into these young ladies. And so now I started to see things a bit different, and my eyes are now opening up to certain things. And so now I started to pull back away from church. And so now, one day, like I said, while we were at the camp, I don't know, last week if you remembered, during a camp ministry where we had the churches, the teenagers going for camp. And I started to talk to him, and I'm like, hey, listen, we have to take a different approach altogether. I'm like, we are losing our marriage at this point, and we need counseling. I said, we need help. And he's like, okay. He agreed that we needed.
So at this point, what is the marriage looking like? Like, okay, a normal date, like, are y'all talking to each other in the home?
We're talking, but it was not the same.
Are y'all still doing fresh things in the home?
Absolutely, we were intimate.
Okay,
I love my husband.
Right. It's when you see your couples are not doing that. Hold on, I say this. When you see couples are not doing that, I'm being serious. That's like a huge sign, guys, that something is not right. Outside of course, if there's a medical, something medical is happening, that's a huge sign that there's trouble in the marriage when there's absolutely no intimacy.
If anybody who knew me and knew my husband at the time knew that I loved that man dearly, right? And being intimate or saying that you close and shop, that was never on my radar when it came to my husband.
Okay, freshie.
Right.
Okay, so
I loved my husband. You understand? I wanted my marriage to work. I fought for my husband. I fought for this man to say that, hey, at the end of the day, this is what I want. This is who I want in my life. You understand? And at the same time, I'm like, this is an interference in our marriage, and this is the issues that I see happening. The pastor is a two-headed monster. I say, first of all, we need to consider leaving this church.
So
I'm not leaving the church.
Okay.
I'm a preacher boy. I'm not leaving the church. I said, okay, fine, no problem. I said, let's take it one step at a time. I'm like, given that you don't want to leave the church, fine. I said, but guess what? We need counseling.
So did y'all go to
We
counseling?
need counseling, and he agreed. He's like, okay, no problem. Now, I said, now, he's like, okay, we can let Pastor counsel us.
Oh, no. Now, see, now,
Listen,
come
Stanya,
on
don't
now.
jump the gun now, Stanya. Don't jump the gun
Lord.
just yet. And so I was like, no. I was like, this is the issue. I say, he is the problem in our marriage right now as to why our marriage is crumbling. I'm like, I'm not sitting in with him. And he said to me, well, if he can't counsel us, then we're not going for counseling.
But
I'm
if
like, can you see what's happening in our relationship
Michelle,
right now? Mhm.
If he's part of the problem, well, why you want to go to the person who's a part of the problem?
Yeah.
To fix. I mean, this is kind of nonsensical to me.
Yeah. And it was, insensitive. That's what you call it?
Insensitive,
Insensitive. Sorry, it was very insensitive of him because at the end of the day, this is the person who created the trauma. How you now going to diagnose something which you created? How you now you gave me this poison, but you're saying that you have the antidote for it? No, I'm not doing that. And so I know we don't have much time, so to fast forward, and so it became a problem. And so I stopped going to church.
So y'all
altogether.
didn't do any counseling then?
We didn't because
okay.
he refused to go to anybody else for counseling.
And that's another thing, guys. Listen, I gotta keep interjecting. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna be honest, and y'all could have a problem with what I gonna say. I ain't giving 5 cents right now, but you know, most pastors, they're not trained. They're not trained to actually even. I know y'all like go do these marital counseling with your pastor and all like this, but y'all don't discuss the real issues. Seriously, y'all don't talk about the things. And I'm saying this. Not everybody, of course, this is not applicable, but I'm just saying, guys, professionally, from what I've seen, like a lot of times when people come to me, when couples come to me, I'm like, okay, well, did y'all talk about this during marital counseling? No, where did you go? My pastor. No, well, we just went over what the Bible did say about being a wife or the husband. No, okay, did you tell your pastor that you struggled with this situation right here?
Life.
Did you talk about the things that you don't like about your mate? Did y'all talk about money? Okay, let's resolve this. No, guys, I'm serious. Like a lot of pastors, and this isn't a bad thing. I mean, I'm not trying to come down. I try to be dead sensitive, man, y'all.
But at the same time, Stanya,
seriously.
what you're saying, you have some pastors who go beyond the Bible.
Yeah, man.
You understand?
But not all.
Not all. And there are a few pastors here, who go beyond the religious counseling. They take a deeper dive into saying, hey, let's talk about your finances. Let's talk about the emotions. Let's talk about triggers. Let's talk about traumas. Did you have existing traumas? Let's talk about what you like and from what you don't like. All these.
Now you see where you said that? And you're right. And that's how you know that this is where you need to be counseled, guys. So don't just go to your pastor because this is your pastor. Rochelle just said it perfectly. She just said it. The ones that go beyond, like, okay, hi, Pastor Roderick Roll. He does that. He's a school psychologist. He was my boss at the Ministry of Education. So he does all kinds of other things. You even got to take the compatibility test.
Yes.
All kind of things.
Yes.
So this isn't me saying, everyone. But what I'm saying is that I've seen it so many times that when you guys go and do the marital counseling, the real issues are not being addressed. And that right there is a bad start.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay. So now time. So some more time goes on. So what you noticing now?
Okay. So at this point now, I'm not really active in church at this point, and so I left the church, not fully. From time to time I would pop up, I would visit or whatever, and that's how I started to wean myself off of church. So in the secretary office, an individual heard what was happening. From the secretary office to the pastor office, the persons who were in the pastor office at the time was my ex-husband, the deacon, and the pastor.
So when you say heard what was happening,
in the discussion, a discussion was happening next door to the pastor's office from the secretary office, which somebody overheard. And so we don't believe in divorce. You believe until death do us part. And so, well, what you gonna do, Chief? We don't believe in divorce. Your wife ain't active in church.
But who's saying this?
This is what the pastor is saying. Right?
Okay.
And so, well, Chief, I don't know what you're gonna do because we don't believe in divorce and all that stuff. You can't divorce your wife. And they called out my name in this discussion.
Right.
And so they were like, well, you're gonna have to pray for her death.
I looking at Brittany, I ain't looking at you to go to commercial break. I looking at you because I can't look the other way.
You're gonna have to pray for her death. The pastor opened up the
now?
Yes, ma'am. Because you don't believe in divorce, and the only way you're going to separate from your wife is through death.
Y'all watch it with this show. What this station is we on again now? Where this is? Because If y'all looking, y'all could see my face. Well, I thought it was
Right.
somewhere around here on this.
It was a lot,
I on
Stanya.
cable somewhere, y'all, because I can't believe this right now. Say, oh, see, there it is. Cable Bahamas channel 969. That's it right there. BTC Flow channel 612. That's right. Say what now?
Yeah, and so
What?
she said, "Mommy, I heard the door open, and who's walking out of the office?" Like I said, the individual heard it, and she called me. She's like, "Mommy, I heard Pastor, the deacon, and your husband."
That's the
saying-
conversation they saying.
Yes.
That you got to die.
Saying that now, because they don't believe in
In
divorce, the only way to separate from you, of not being a part of you now, is to pray for your death. And
This
she
the
said,
old now.
so now she said, when she looked from the secretary door on the pulpit praying, is the pastor, the deacon, and my husband praying for God to kill me.
I looking you in the eye right now.
That's right. And I got a call. I came from work
Oh,
one
your
day.
eyes look full right
Yeah,
now.
it was a lot. It was a lot. I love that man. I fought for him, you know? And so I came from work, and my baby was like, "Mommy," I'm calling her my baby. And so she was like, "Mommy," she said, "I'm so hurt." I'm like, "Why you so hurt?" I said, "What happened?" She said, "You wouldn't believe Daddy and the pastor and the deacon, they pray for you to die." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Well, you don't come to church like that." And they say, "You're being rebellious. You're a rebellious wife. You're now causing persons to now rebel against the church and against God's word. Persons are now speaking up for the church. And, a lot of persons in the church miss you because you are the voice of reason. And when things were not happening the way it should happen or deemed to be, persons always relied on you of being that source, of being that comfort, of being that counsel and helping people. And here it is now. You're no longer here to help and defend us and fight for us because you always stood up for what is right. You always just tell us, what? I am not perfect, Stanya, but at the same time, as I started to grow into myself and evolve, I started to see things different.
So hold on, man. I got to get to the end of this 24 months. So when he came home that day, did you say anything?
I sure did.
And what he said?
I approached him.
And
I
what he
said, he came from work that night. I was like, it was brought to my attention today
Right.
that I said, how was your day? He said, my day is fine. I said, were you at the church today? He was like, yes, I was. I was like, so it was brought to my attention that you prayed for my death.
So what was the response?
He looked me dead in my eye. He said, yes, I did.
Well, at least he honest. Anyway, someone, a text message said, "Hi, Stanley, I'm listening attentively, and at the same time, I am wondering where these demons come from." Anyway, if you all want to send me a text message or WhatsApp, 422-4796. That's 422-4796. Okay, boy, anyway. And I don't even know what to say. Because once again, I told y'all, I don't never know the stories before people come inside here, okay? So I am just as shocked as you guys are right now. Okay, so he admitted that
He admitted.
And so where do y'all go from there? Like, how could you be with this person now?
It took him a minute to admit it because, he was basically like stunned too, to be honest. And so he did admit it after a minute or so because he was stunned. He was surprised. And so I'm like, what? I said, the only thing I ask of you is to fight as I am fighting. This is a cult that we're in. I'm like, were you allowing the pastor to say so many things in your head and you're believing it? I was like, you rather now lose your family over a pastor who's not going to lose his family. Look around you. Many married couples in the church now have since left because they said they refuse to allow a pastor to be the sunder what God put together.
Hold on, just another text message. Stanley, does your guest mean the pastor prayed for her always to die or for her to die?
No, for me to die.
Okay. I don't understand. Your guest needs to reveal the name of the church. No, we can't do that. The name of the church because Obeah is illegal in the Bahamas. No, we can't do that. Okay. She's sharing her story and it's still allegedly. Okay. So at what point do you now come up, because you're still staying with this person who's praying for your demise, who's participating in your death.
And I
So-
never said that was Obia.
No,
right?
I call it obeah, and you know why I call it obeah? Allegedly, I call it obeah because see, obeah is anything which you really say to bring somebody down. You ain't gotta go mix up no potion and leave this and stick pin and doll and all like that. You know, when if somebody is wishing and hoping and praying for your demise, that's obeah. That's verbal obeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay,
so
allegedly. Because
The
I got
dyna-
no money for no one to sue me. Go on.
the dynamics in our relationship
So
after
now it
that.
changed. Okay.
It shift right away. You know, and so I'm like, I'm here now fighting for something that I believe in. I said to you, this man is breaking our relationship. I
So-
said we were not like this, but you allow him to implant whatever he's implanting in your head to believe it. I
Michelle,
said,
hold on, because see, we gotta get this. I gotta get this because I know want you a juicier piece. You keep coming with something. You look like you want to come here third week. Hold on now. So, at what point do you leave, and why do you leave? And did you find out more things? What happened? Like
yes,
what
I
happened?
did.
Okay,
I found
what,
out more things.
what happened now?
I found out that my best friend was with my ex-husband.
What? Hold on now. What?
Yeah.
Wait, you say wait the same husband who was go to church every day?
Absolutely.
You say you found out your best friend was with him?
Yes. My best friend. And it did.
How?
And here it is now. And I want you to listen to this too, Stanya. Because this was my best friend. They dubbed us as number 10 because I was slim and she was a bit more solid than I am. And we were always good friends. And let me say this. Persons will say that, oh, people like to reveal things to their best friend in pillow talk. No, I'm not that kind of person to reveal pillow talks to a friend. You understand? Now, I would express certain things, but I'm never going to go devour into deep, intimate things or, whatever. Like a person say, I tell my best friend everything. I was not the one to open up and reveal a lot of things to my best friend at the time. But we were close. We talked about a lot of things in life. But to say that, I would share surface information like, man, listen, I really praying that this thing work out because,
But
and
how
persons
you
could have
find
seen it. I can tell you how I found out, right? And it's so crazy how I found out. I would never forget it. Oh, Lord, Stanya, I think I have to come back more often on the show to read because it's too much for me to knock out in one day. But let me see how quickly I can wrap it up
Because
quickly
we got
for
about
you.
10 minutes. We got about 10
Right?
minutes left.
Okay, so after I confronted my husband and then letting him know that I found out that, yes, it is brought to my attention that you were praying for me to die or whatever. And eventually he did admit it. And so our relationship dynamic shift automatically.
Yeah.
And so basically we were like in different rooms now at this point, living in the same home. And so you live your life, let me live my life now at this point. And so I stopped going to the church completely after that. And so my best friend and I, we would still be in communication on a day-to-day basis. She would be the one to actually, and mind you now, I can braid hair. But she does an awesome job, much more better than I can. Although I know that I am good in braiding. Every 2 to 3 weeks, my baby would go to her godmother, and my best friend was her godmother. And so every 2 to 3 weeks, she would go to her godmother to get her hair braided. And we would talk, and, we would laugh, hang out, and everything. She'd go by her goddy every 2 to 3 weeks. She's consistently going by her goddy. It was revealed to me the week. So let's just say, here it is now. I'm planning my daughter's birthday party now at this point.
Going into becoming
Go,
one.
yes, right? And so while planning it, leading into the holiday, what you call it? Heroes Day now, which was Columbus.
October?
Yeah, Heroes Day now. And so I came from work one day. I know we jumping ahead because I want to wrap it up with you as well. I got off from work one day, came to pick up my baby from my parents' house. I walked into the house. Everybody looked as if they were so sad. And so my parents are in the front, my sisters are in the front, and they're like, Ray, we need to talk to you. And automatically I said, who dead? I said, because I ain't sitting down. So y'all need to tell me who dead now, because I ain't sitting down. Give me the bad news while I standing. So my sister's like, no, you need to have a seat. Now, bear in mind, I'm no longer in the church. And it's not like I'm getting information because I'll tell people I don't want to know what's happening in the church. So whatever is happening, I don't want to know. And so my sister said, you're going to have to sit. And so I sat. I said, what happened? So they was like...
Don't call no names.
No, I'm not going to call a name. So they was like, let me just use a name.
Lisa.
Yeah. So they're going to say, Lisa's getting married. I say, who Lisa? Yeah, Lisa. My Lisa. What you talking about? I said, I just was talking today. We talk every day, by the way. I said, what are you talking about? Lisa is getting married. I say, if Lisa was getting married, I'm assuming that she would come to me first. I say, who Lisa getting married to? Let's just say his name is Jack, my ex-husband. But Lisa's getting married to Jack. Now, during all this now, Stan, you just know that divorce and everything has already been filed and, going
So
through all.
y'all are not divorced yet, though?
No, everything is now process of filing divorce. We already went through the first part. Not like I said, now I'm jumping ahead a lot of information to get to where we are. So to get into how our we miss a lot. It's a lot that was in between. So in turn, how our relationship got destroyed basically and came to an end. We already went through the first, and we got at this point we already got our decree.
Right.
Nice.
Were y'all still in the same house?
Yeah, we were still in the same house, because we still had ancillaries together, property or whatever. And so I was like, this don't make no sense to me. I said, what y'all talking about? So my sister was like, well, at this point, my sister still attend the church. And so she was like, well, on Sunday, we had an emergency meeting. And Jack and Lisa were placed on church discipline. I said, placed on church discipline? I said, what you talking about? Church discipline. And so they admitted on the pulpit that they are in a relationship.
So the pastor didn't know then?
I don't know if he did know or not. I can't verify. But all I know that it was revealed. How it got revealed, I cannot say to this day how it happened. I don't know. But all I know that it was revealed that he probably admitted it to the pastor. I don't know. But they went on the church pulpit and he admitted that, yes, they were in a relationship.
So when when your family tells you this, what do you now do? Like, do you
There was a lot of
Lisa?
emotions.
Disrespectful.
I did.
Deception.
A lot of emotions was running through me because at the end of the day, me and this lady is talking every day, Stanya. And we're planning my baby's birthday party that following Saturday. I'm going to the location where she works because she's recommending me to get X, Y, and Z because they have specials going on.
Right.
Purchase this, purchase that. I'm like, okay. I say, well, I'm going to give you the money because I won't have time. I say, just get whatever you think.
She's planning it with you
Planning
as best friends.
Exactly. She's planning it with me. And bear in mind, now my daughter just left her house that Saturday.
Right, getting her
hair braided. Right? And so I'm like, this. I say, y'all. I'm confused. I'm like, y'all, who y'all talking about? Because at this point, it's like the information hit me, but at the same time, it did not I did not.
So nobody noticed that.
Nobody knew.
Man, this
Stanya,
this is weird to me. This is very weird.
I know it seems so weird, but at the same time, the way it happened, nobody knew. They did it undercover. Nobody knew because here it is. Like I'm telling you, me and this young lady speaking every day. I'm planning my daughter's day. She just got her hair braided ahead in advance for her birthday party.
So okay, hold on now. So after this, you called Lisa?
I did.
And what Lisa says?
What I did. That's when WhatsApp. That's when WhatsApp just started to come around and all that stuff.
Right.
So what I did, instead of calling each person individually, I created a group.
Oh wow. Okay.
And in the group was both. Let's just say, for the name's sake, Lisa and Jack and myself were in the group. Mm-hmm. And I asked various questions in the group. I'm like, at which point were you guys going to tell me that you guys were in a relationship for me to be sidebar like this? I said, you are my best friend for years. And you are my husband who I loved. I was like, this is such a betrayal. And you know what my ex did? He came out of that group chat, and he responded to me in a separate
Saying what?
group, saying that, oh, we don't have to talk about this inside of the group or whatever. If you have anything to ask me, you could ask me personally. I say no. This is an open matter at this point because everybody is fully aware now what's going on, except for me. At this point, I'm like, answer the questions what I'm asking you in the group, because clearly you and her are a couple now, under my nose, without me knowing what's happening. And so she never responded in the group. She blocked me. She came out of the group and she blocked me. And my ex and I started to ask him questions. He refused to answer certain questions. And to this day, from that day to this day, me and her never had a conversation.
Are you serious? Y'all never spoke?
Never spoke. Never had a conversation.
Y'all had mutual friends?
Absolutely, we had mutual
So
friends.
what the mutual friends used to say? Like they...
Everybody was shocked, Stanya, when I tell you. This was a shock for everybody. And this was a shock within the fundamental realm because we were actively involved in church. And persons who knew us in the fundamental realm, they knew that we were heavily active. And so, yeah.
I see someone. Listen, y'all sound like y'all want Ray here the whole dog on it march to wait. Hold on, man. This like y'all ever watch on TikTok when they got these 13-part series. Hold on, man. Listen. So you never spoke with her after that?
Me and her never spoke after
Have you
that.
ever seen her?
I did.
And what happened when you see her?
We came together when my daughter became of age. You know, when you filing for your divorce and everything.
So they did get married?
They did got married.
No!
They're married and they have a kid.
They still married?
They are.
Well, what is this now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They're married.
I'm
and they
looking
have a
away from
kid.
you again. Hold on.
Yeah. The second time I had a conversation with her and seeing her face to face years later, my daughter discovered my divorce file. I'm very organized.
So hold on, man. You must listen.
It's a lot.
Hold on. So Rochelle, okay, you said that you and your ex-husband, have y'all have a better relationship as it pertains to co-parenting.
Absolutely.
So okay, this boy got it. You must see. Come on again. This is my head right now. Okay. So if they live together, they married. So that is now your daughter's stepmom. So
Stepmom Gotti.
Stepmommy. Is how you, step Gotti.
Gotti stepmommy.
What we call step Gotti? Eh? What's we gonna call?
Stepmommy Gotti.
Okay. So. But he would come for his daughter. He spent time with his daughter.
Yes, he did.
So you never drop her off to the house or wherever and saw the lady?
And that's what I'm saying now. Like I said, there's so many things that happen in between, but we can't cover at one time. During the show right now. So, like I said, we were going through a divorce and everything like that, right?
This is like I have on my face.
Yeah.
It's very confused look.
Yeah, so now, remember now, I said we were going through our divorce and everywhere we went to the first part of the divorce. It seems confusing because there's so many missing parts leading on to what I have to say. When I made mention that also that when I brought light to what was happening to my lawyer and everything like that, you have to make updated files to the docket. And when I brought to their attention that what was revealed about my ex-husband and her, my ex-husband ended up filing back and saying that me and her were mere church members. We were not best friends.
He disowned her? I mean, he
disowned
the
that
relationship?
Yeah, our relationship. He's in essence, you're like, our relationship was not valid. No, it was valid. Everybody within the fundamental realm, not just our church, Stanya, not just our church. Listen carefully. Everybody, the fundamental church that we were associated with, knew that when you see me, you see Lisa. When you see Lisa, you see me. And if you don't see me with Lisa, you're going to see Lisa with my sister or my sister best friend.
So hold on.
And so it was a shock. Listen, it was a shock to everybody for persons because, I had my cousins who still attended the church. and I had to now call them as witness, because at this point now you're now saying that we were not best friends, we were just church members, and they had to now submit affidavit testimony stating that no, these two were legit best friends for years. Don't downplay their relationship to make it seem as if, hey, they were just church members.
Okay, hold on. So your daughter has a relationship with step goddy mommy?
She do not.
So how does...
As she got older, like I said, I'm well organized and I have a lot of things filed at home. And so she was looking for something, by the way, not that she was being nosy, but she was looking for some information. And I told her where to go get it, not knowing that that information was also in that file. And so when I came home one day, I just met my daughter sitting on the bed with tears in her eyes. I'm thinking something happened. I say, hey, mama. When I open the door, I say, hey, mama. And when I looked, I saw a lot of papers on the bed spread open. And I looked at my daughter, so I couldn't even greet her like how I normally would greet her anymore at this point. And I came next, and all I did, because I already saw what was happening on the bed, and I hugged her, and she just started to cry. And she said, I demand a meeting with you, Daddy, and Lisa.
Did y'all never had a meeting?
Oh, I sure did.
Oh, so you did see her then?
That was the, I told you, from then to now, when my daughter did ask and made a request to have that meeting, that was the first time I saw her in years.
Listen.
And that would have been the first time me and her communicated, when I created that WhatsApp group, when I found out and discovered that her and my husband at the time were together.
Okay, it's 2:27. This last comment is, Stanya, I love your show. Thank you. Stanya, I love your show. And Ray
Yes.
is strong. Bring her back to public counseling sessions. Don't let your head hurt. Child, my head been hurting, but anyway, I can go get my Kong salad from Didi Dem on that road in East Street South by Scotiabank.
Mm-hmm.
Ray could laugh loud now at the state of confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, next question. Message, Stanya. If there is anyone I admire, it's this young lady. Yes, it is. Her story seems as if I'm watching one of those Lifetime movies.
Mm-hmm.
You all see why I be stalking people on TikTok? I know. Listen, I know when people got one good story. Because see, this me, hold on, she ain't talk. But anyway, listen, let me stay focused. What a strong, godly young lady. I just love her. Yes, she needs to write her story in a book. Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. Yes. Another text message. Good day, and this is a harsh reality, and can't wait for full disclosure, and the man will be brought to his knees. Strong woman. Boy, y'all, I know, because sometimes these stories, but anyway, these stories, and anyway, I can't say, I got things to say. You got to come back again, because now we invested now.
Yeah.
We need to know what happened during the family meeting, one,
Mm-hmm.
and two, we also need to know, because yes, she's still a woman of God. How did you also renew your faith in God and in the Christian religion after all this stuff? Now, you got to tune in. Y'all, I gotta go. It's 2:29. Dwight been behaving. He ain't send me no little dirty message today. I know he's on vacation or something. What's happening? We gotta come back to this because we're all invested.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know what happened during the meeting.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys.
And the thing is, Stanya, I was so shocked. I know we have to go. When I hugged her and I pulled back away from her, she said, I demand a meeting.
She said what?
She said, Mommy, I demand a meeting.
Your daughter.
Yes.
Anyways, it's 2:30. I got to get out of here. We got to come back to this. Okay, what is supposed to say? This is the post, the sweetheart and survey. Yeah, you know what? That's what I could do for y'all. That's what I could do. In the meantime, you know how I like come with my little surveys and see how much people this and that and da-da-da? Mm-hmm. That's what Stanya's going to do. Guys, I got to get out of here. It's 2:30. McCong Salad Man calling. Mm-hmm. I got to go. Ray, mm-hmm. She'll be back. I out of here.